What is a limiter in One Punch Man, and how did Saitama actually break his one? Now, before we actually get into this video, make sure you leave a like on the video, because why not? It takes like 1 second and it helps me out a lot, and it helps you out as well, kind of. Like, it kind of helps you guys out, because, you know, why wouldn't you want to leave a like on my video? Like, I'm the nicest guy you could ever come across on YouTube. I'm joking, but apart from that, I would actually like to thank you guys for 300 subscribers. I started posting seriously on this channel about a month or two ago, and I'm actually happy where we are right now, but I know we can grow even more than this. But now that's out of the way, let's actually get into the video. Limiters in One Punch Man are probably one of the most mysterious and unexplored things in One Punch Man. We don't even know how they look like, or even if limiters have a physical form in the first place. According to the wiki, or more specifically according to Dr. Genius, in One Punch Man, a limiter is a theoretical barrier that restricts the physical growth of a being. Now, just a quick heads up to manga readers that if you have not read the webcomic and do not want to be spoiled, then I suggest you click off the video now, because we are going into spoiler territory for pretty much the rest of this video, because I would like to, you know, take a deeper dive into limiters as a whole. Now, as we all know, the only two people that we know so far that have broken their limiter are obviously Saitama, and I would actually like to believe also Garou has like semi broken his limiter, but I would like to believe he is also someone that has basically broken his limiter as well. But as we all know, even when Saitama fought Garou in the webcomic, Garou was still no match for Saitama, which kind of leads me to believe that either Garou didn't fully break his limiter, or limiters can be broken on different scales. Now, assuming it's the second option I stated, then that would mean Saitama not only just broke his limiter, but he must have like completely obliterated it. Like, his limiter must have been broken to a ridiculous large scale, or either he just made use of the fact that he broke his limiter and just kept growing stronger. Do bear in mind that assuming Garou actually broke his limiter before their fight, that would mean that Garou was in the very early stages of a broken limiter, whereas Saitama has broken his limiter for who knows how long, probably years at this point. Although a limiter is a barrier that restricts the physical growth of someone, I believe that this barrier can be broken to many different scales. Saitama must have completely broken it and trained beyond that point, whereas Garou probably only kind of almost broke his limiter, or just about broke it basically, which obviously means he was, as I've already said, in the very early stages of a broken limiter. Now, we all know that Saitama doing 100 sit-ups, 100 push-ups, and a 10-kilometer run is a gag. It's a gag, and that probably wasn't the way he broke his limiter. My theory on how Saitama gained this crazy strength is through God granting him the power of a broken limiter. Now, in these past few chapters of the One Punch Man manga, we see that the only way to actually gain powers from God is through not only just touching the cube, but to also be deemed quote-unquote worthy of receiving a power God grants you. If you guys don't remember, Homeless Emperor gained his power in a different way from finding a cube. God actually appeared in front of Homeless Emperor and granted him an ability that allowed him to be classed as a dragon level threat. So from what we know, the way God grants you powers is either through touching one of the currently unknown number of cubes, or either he just appears in front of you and gives you a power. This means that Saitama must have either touched one of the cubes to get this immeasurable power, or either God just appeared and granted him this power. And considering Saitama didn't recognize this cube when he came across it with Flashy Flash, leads me to believe that God actually appeared and just granted him this absurd power. I honestly don't believe Saitama could have broken his limiter by doing, you know, 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, and a 10-kilometer run every day. I'm sure that's just the gag aspect of One Punch Man. I'm sure if he did that, he would probably get really strong, but not near to how he's portrayed in the manga. But even if that training regimen is what led him to break his limiter, then fuck, I don't know anymore. I guess all we can do is just laugh. One Punch Man is a comedy slash parody after all. Like, One Punch Man shouldn't be taken too seriously, but of course it's not illegal to make theories on, you know, possible events that happen in One Punch Man, or, you know, theorize on some of the more mysterious aspects of the series. But back on topic, let me just restate the ways I feel like someone can break their limiter. First way you can break your limiter is by facing multiple near-death experiences, the same way Garou and Phoenix Man did. If Phoenix Man kept nearly dying, I'm sure he probably would have gotten to the level of Garou. I do admit that this method is definitely one of the hardest and obviously most painful, because not only do you need a crazy amount of will to live, but you also need to face probably very painful deaths multiple times, or rather should I say painful near deaths. The next way you can break your limiter is by being lucky enough for God to specifically grant you the gift of a broken limiter, which is very unlikely, but it's definitely possible. The next and final way we know so far to break your limiter is to touch a cube and be lucky enough to be deemed worthy for God to grant you a wish of your choice. Of course, all these methods are very hard, which makes sense because a broken limiter is not something to take lightly in the slightest. We've all seen what Saitama is capable of doing with a broken limiter. I feel like there's actually another way you can break your limiter, and this is actually what Blast is currently doing in the manga, which is collecting all God's cubes that seem to be spread all around the world. But that isn't a confirmed way to break your limiter, so that at the moment is just a mere theory. I would actually like to know what you guys think of just the existence of limiters in One Punch Man, and who do you think will be the next person or monster in the series to actually break their limiter and possibly fight Saitama or even Blast, because we've seen that Blast is incredibly strong in his own rights. But that's pretty much it for this video. If you like the video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe with notifications turned on and set to all. Let's try and reach 400 subscribers before the end of the month. I'm sure we can do it. Maybe, I don't know, but apart from that, I will see you in my next video.